And new tonight, it could now be months before Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan faces trial. Dugan is accused of helping an undocumented immigrant evade immigration officials.
And a federal magistrate recommends the obstruction case against Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan move forward.
He meets his attorney in the hallway and walks towards Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan's courtroom. Along the way, he passes plainclothes federal agents who are sitting on a bench. They are there to detain him. After Flores Ruiz walks by, the agents turn to each other and appear to confirm his identity amongst themselves. But a few moments later, Judge Dugan and another judge approached the agents sitting on the bench. A criminal complaint against Dugan later said she was alerted to their presence by a court official. That complaint says during this interaction, Dugan and the agents disagreed over the type of warrant they had to arrest Flores Ruiz. According to the complaint, Dugan ordered the agents to go to the chief judge's office. Video shows her pointing them through a double door. She then turns back to speak with other agents further down the hall and orders them through the doors as well. Shortly after that, with the agents gone from the hallway, Eduardo Flores Ruiz and his attorney exit into the hallway through a different door. As they walk down the hall toward the elevators, they pass another plainclothes federal agent. Neither they nor Judge Dugan seem to have noticed at the time. That agent motions to another to follow Flores Ruiz. Security video shows Flores Ruiz exiting through a basement exit. Upstairs on the 6th floor, the other agents have left the chief judge's office and worked their way downstairs. Flores Ruiz left the building onto 9th Street. Videos of the street shows the agents catching up to him. Flores Ruiz.
Prosecute, put this big heifer in jail, prison, slam a yard, turn the lights off, disbarred, remove, throw the book, take your road, jail, prison, handcuffs, big heifer. Roll that beautiful intro. They say, Rick, sir, calm down, sir. Your blood pressure, sir. Yes, sir.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. When you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
You got to put your hands behind your back. Yeah, big greasy Hannah. Big greasy gal. We got to walk out. This is good. Yeah. It's that big judge that was helping the legal criminal invade ICE. And the FBI put that big butt in handcuffs. They put that help in hand, and it was beautiful. We got the picture? What a picture. Y'all know I love pictures like this. Man, look at the AI. Y'all see the AI? Look at the AI. I tell you, that AI, but look at you see that picture right there? That picture of them walking around in handcuffs? I need a bigger picture. I want to blow it up. Yeah, where the picture at? Where is the picture? There it is right there, but I need one I can click on. Look right here. There it is. Look. Y'all see that? Oh, that's I'm telling you, the most beautiful thing, I think, especially these next couple of years, these next 4 years, is this right here. People being walked out. Yeah, held accountable, caught, busted. Yeah, jail, prison, accountability. You know, and it's a lot of these judges that need to be walked out. A lot of people that need to be walked out. You know, I tell you. But she faces up to 6 years in prison and a $350,000 fine. I tell you, Wisconsin judges allowing the case against Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan to proceed, denying the defense's bid to dismiss the charges. Judge Dugan is charged with ushering an illegal alien out of the courthouse so he could evade ICE agents. I tell you, you know, yeah, got to walk this big heifer out. Walk out, you know. We got you on camera, ma'am. Yeah, this is, what world do these people think we living in? We wish y'all cared this much about actual Americans. But these judges, the one that say, these judges are a threat to society. A threat to public safety. They say, go back out and do it again. You did what? You killed somebody, you stole out the store, you attacked, you beat up one of your family members. You say, what happened? You did what with a little kid? What? It's okay. Go back out into the community. Yeah, we wish y'all cared this much about actual Americans. We wish y'all cared about Americans. But y'all care about the illegals. The other judge got the illegals, criminals in the attic, in the basement, in the backyard. The wife in there making them bread and soup. All kind of crap is going on. And guess what? We catching y'all, but yeah, they walked that judge out. Caught all them illegals in there. Yeah. Then I think they tried to make up a lying excuse. Oh, this is the yard man. You lying? That ain't the yard man. And a lot of them yard landscapers, they a lot of them, you know, people say this about them, but a lot of them and a lot of them are pissed off because they did things the right way. You know, a lot of them, you'd be surprised. A lot of them, even the one that used to cut our grass at our other house, you know. He went through the system the right way, and he's pissed off of what is taking place, especially these last couple of years. Just come on in, you know. Like the one they got in Nebraska the other day, he riding around in his Nissan enjoying the sunset. I tell you, Kingpin. Look where he at. Let me pull that up. Look, where Kingpin at? I call him King. They call him Kingpin, the Kingpin leader, the Kingpin leader right here. Riding around in Nebraska and then killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. You know, usually when they say 5, more than 5, it'd be a whole rap sheet, you know. And he riding around big baller. He got the big Nissan SUV, big balling, riding around enjoying the sunset. I tell you, and wanted for murder. I tell MS-13. I tell you, you just can't make this up. But these are who Democrats care so much for, though. You know, they want to fly to El Salvador. They want to fly here. They want to sit down and drink margaritas with them. You know, he's not a MS-13. He's not a criminal. He's done nothing wrong. Then they got the footage of him doing all kind of things wrong, breaking the law. And he's a great father. And then come to find out, he's kicking the wife in the... She got 2, 3 black eyes. She went to the police. The statements, they say this and that, you know. Then put a protective order out on them. What they call it? You just can't make it up, you know. Got a whole protection order on them. And now all of a sudden we on fake news media crime. The Democrats writing the script up, you know, to make Trump look like such a bad guy. Trump is deporting a father. He's deporting kids. He's separating families. You just can't hate the fake news media enough. They won't tell nobody the truth. They won't tell nobody the full story. And Kingpin riding around in communities, then killed multiple people, riding around in his big baller Nissan SUV enjoying the sunset. I tell you, man. Look. So I love seeing this, and they made them walk out and do the boogie and do the two-step dance. Yeah, and go and walk it back with your hands up. Go and walk it back. Go and walk it back. And they put his butt in handcuffs. This is what I love to see. Accountability. Getting all you dirty scums off the street. Look at that. You see how he grabbed the fluff, and it's such a beautiful placement. Shout out to our law enforcement. Such a beautiful placement. Put that butt in handcuffs. You got to be walked out with your hands behind your back. Yeah. So you can put these judges in handcuffs too. Deport the judges. Put the judges on the plane. Especially this big heifer here. You know, you just can't make this up, man.
His legal team tried to get the case tossed, citing in part judicial immunity. Tonight, U.S. Magistrate Judge Nancy Joseph recommends the motion be denied. District Court Judge Lynn Edelman will make the final decision on whether the case against Dugan moves forward.
Okay, so here's where things get a little confusing. This is the man who's in charge of Judge Hannah Dugan's court case, Judge Edelman. However, this is Judge Joseph. She is a federal magistrate in the area, and she gave a recommendation overseeing what the arguments were from both sides. And according to her, Judge Hannah Dugan, who's arguing she's a judge and she shouldn't be criminally prosecuted, she's calling it ridiculous, and she wants the case to move forward.
Her thoughts on the magistrate judge's ruling?
Yes, she's disappointed as well, and she has faith that Judge Edelman will come to a different conclusion. She's been strong and tough and remains steadfast in her interest in really setting forth what the real facts are in this case.
So I hope you caught that. Judge Hannah Dugan is hoping that Judge Edelman will have a different conclusion. This is because it doesn't really matter what the magistrate says. That is not a binding decision. However, it's heavily influenceable. But ultimately speaking, this judge right here has the final say, but he's making sure to take his time on a decision.
Give a little hint at the defense, what your defense will be and what you will present that you haven't already in the documents.
Yeah, we can't share everything, of course, at this time, but the things that Judge Dugan did are not at all anything unusual. As we've seen on those videos that you already have, the defendant in this case went down the hall. It's actually 11 feet and I believe 8 inches outside of the main entrance to 2 federal agents who are watching and ready to arrest him.
So these are new statements from Judge Hannah Dugan's defense team. They're being very reserved, but they're giving us some insight. They're still holding to Judge Hannah Dugan should not be prosecuted. This case needs to end now. Everything we saw in that video, that is nothing new for a judge. She was just doing her job. This is completely normal.
Covers all of the acts that she took in the courtroom and in the courthouse hallway with that undocumented individual. She filed a motion to dismiss. There's an amicus brief, which means a brief from friends of the court, from dozens of retired judges in her support. And the government has responded to that. So Judge Edelman, the federal district court judge here in Milwaukee, is reading those papers, is at some point going to make a decision whether or not Hannah Dugan's acts were immune.
Now, before we continue, make sure to please subscribe. Make sure you guys are well informed. Dugan's defense team is arguing all of the acts we saw from Judge Hannah Dugan in the hallway, those are completely normal and within the normative means of how a judge should operate in the hallway of a courthouse. However, the stakes are very high for the entire country of the United States right now. Basically, if this court case is dropped, that means any other judge in the United States can argue immunity for exactly what Judge Hannah Dugan did, which is why this judge who's in charge of the court case is really taking his time. Whatever he decides could literally change the course of American history and our legal system.
All of those things are things that judges do.
And I know how y'all feel about our system. So go on, get it. Go on, keep it real with me. I can already see how the comment section is gonna go on this. You know, we people are fed up with all this crap, man. You know, people are fed up with all this crap, and these judges put that big heifer in jail. Let us, what they say, she gets 670. Let us sit her butt in there and pay that fat fine. Yeah, let us sit her big butt in there. You know, a new sheriff's in town. We got to do things the right way, and no one's above the law. And we got you on camera, ma'am. We got your butt on camera. Multiple cameras. And they showed the full thing of what took place.
Each and every day in every courthouse in every state in this country. What is unusual about this prosecution is the prosecution itself, that the government is interfering with the judiciary.
That's so beautiful right there. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Family, y'all see that? That's what I want to see a lot of people like that. Yeah. A lot of people, man. Judges, politicians, a lot of scums, you know, these rich elites, whatever they call them, you know, people that did some disgusting things, these I'm telling you, I want to see a lot of people just like that. In handcuffs, being walked out. This is what people voted for right here. Right here. This is what people voted for. I got this. I want to see more of this. Yeah.
I will actually agree with the Judge Hannah Dugan defense team. It is quite unusual for any court case or prosecution against a standing judge who facilitated an illegal immigrant walking out the back door and evading ICE. And again, according to the Judge Hannah Dugan defense team, they are arguing everything that Judge Hannah Dugan did on that day is what judges do every single day. This is normal.
FBI agents arrested Judge Dugan in April, accusing her of helping an undocumented immigrant avoid immigration agents in the courthouse. Dugan's legal team tried to get the case tossed, citing in part judicial immunity. Tonight, U.S. Magistrate Judge Nancy Joseph recommends the motion be denied.
Now, the document given by the magistrate judge, you know, the one who recommended the court case continue and Judge Hannah Dugan should not be held immune, here's what she had to say, a very quick summary. It is well established and undisputed that judges have absolute immunity from civil lawsuits for monetary damages when engaging in judicial acts. The magistrate judge wrote in her decision, this, however, is not a civil case, and review of the case law does not show an extension of this established doctrine to the criminal context. Accordingly, I recommend that Dugan's motion to dismiss the indictment on judicial immunity grounds be denied.
And yes, it's not unusual to have a federal case essentially be taken off of the trial calendar while there are pretrial issues being taken care of.
So we are in that pre-trial issue stage. Basically, Judge Hannah Dugan's defense team is on the appeal train, and they have that right. They are going to appeal the magistrate's decision, even though it's not a binding decision. Judge Hannah Dugan's defense team knows this is highly influenceable, like we talked about before. Also, Judge Hannah Dugan's defense team already said, we will appeal the final decision, the actual binding the decision to move forward. So this is why the judge who's in charge of this whole case, he's taking his time. He's not rushing with anything, because no matter what he says, favorable for Judge Hannah Dugan or unfavorable, everyone's going to be appealing.
You know, these types of videotapes always make it more difficult for the defense. I spent much of my career as a criminal defense attorney, and that type of visual evidence makes it very difficult because there's no denying what occurred here. What the judge is trying to say is that she has immunity, that what she was doing as a judge. I find that pretty hard to understand. You know, if you are an NFL linebacker, you have a right to tackle people on the field. You don't have a right to go out in the parking lot and start tackling people. You had the same situation as a member of Congress. You had protections under speech and debate on what you said on the floor. But when you left the floor, you lost those special protections.
And again, I want to make it clear, the Judge Hannah Dugan defense team is not denying anything that happened in the hallway. They're simply saying, yeah, that's the job of a judge. We see it every day. This is what judges do. But the prosecution is saying, no, that is not what judges do. It's very interesting to see. We have a divide. Some people who have watched the footage are saying, I see nothing wrong. On the flip side, you have people saying, I see everything wrong. Make sure to leave your comments down below how you feel about it.
Hands off Dugan! Hands off Dugan!
A group of Milwaukee faith leaders gathering outside the federal courthouse in Milwaukee today
to demand that the charges...
Justice for the judge. The hell with the judge. Arrest the judge. Let the judge do time. Put the judge on the plane. Deport the judge. The judge. A lot of these judges are the enemy of the people.
Against her be dropped.
As inside, federal prosecutors and attorneys from Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan met briefly with U.S. District Judge Lynn Edelman.
So here's where things also get interesting. This court case could also change all of the courtrooms in the United States as far as the jurisdiction of a courtroom versus a court hallway.
But before there can be a trial, her team wants the case dismissed, saying whatever happened in the courtroom falls under judicial immunity.
Based on the motion that we filed and all of the case law, that she is immune from this prosecution, that it shouldn't have even been brought in the first place.
So you salt and pepper scum.
So obviously that does have to get resolved.
In documents, federal prosecutors push back, saying the motion is an unprecedented dismissal on grounds of judicial immunity, ignoring well-established law. They argue Dugan's desired ruling would, in essence, say that judges are above the law.
So the reason why this is a big deal is because we have the actual testimony from Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, where she clearly says, look, there was an active court case happening, and all of a sudden the judge, Judge Hannah Dugan, left the court case, went into the hallway, and did her thing there. According to the DOJ, this is clear intent to try and facilitate, move the ICE agents out of the way, and then send the illegal immigrant out the back door through the hallway and evade ICE. And again, if Judge Hannah Dugan wins this case, that means judges now will have immunity and can do the exact same thing. They can stop everything that's happening in the courtroom, and it doesn't matter if the person is an illegal immigrant or a legal American citizen. It could happen to anyone, where the judge can just stop everything. Hold on, there's something going on in that hallway, and we can see some more facilitating or moving around in the public hallway because the jurisdiction changes. This means that a judge can now be in the hallway and be held immune. That is what's at stake here.
The case is being highly litigated. Shortly after she was indicted in federal court, Hannah Dugan's lawyers filed a motion to dismiss, basically saying, listen, she's being prosecuted for undertaking official acts that she was doing as a judge. She has the control of her courtroom. Judges have control of courthouses. Those are official acts that since 1607, the common law has decided that judicial acts are immune to prosecution. Of course, the government has a different view of this, saying that trying to conceal and obstruct the arrest of this undocumented person did not constitute an official act. It was outside of her duties as a judge.
Now, a lot of us seem to forget the reason why Judge Hannah Dugan decided to go out into the hallway and then all of a sudden the illegal immigrant walks through the back door and out into the hallway is because Judge Hannah Dugan just ended the court case. And we have the testimony from Pam Bondi in which they are waving the red flag and saying, hold on, this is not proper court procedure. Because a lot of us are just focusing on the act of the illegal immigrant walking out the back door. But we have to remember what happened before that.
Rare for victims to want to cooperate. They wanted to cooperate. They were sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes. Victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom, you're not going to believe this, takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Wow.
You know, Madam Attorney General.
Now, just to give you some context, Pam Bondi seems to be way more animated than usual. Well, this is because at the time of that interview, nobody knew what was going on. Nobody had the public footage we see today of Judge Hannah Dugan in the hallway and doing everything we saw on the footage. So it looks like Pam Bondi was really trying to paint the picture. This is real. This actually happened. And now that we have the footage, the public perception, you know, you can make your own decision how you feel about this. But at the time, Pam Bondi, again, was really trying to tell everybody, this is legitimately what happened, and I have seen the footage.
Because if you look at the end of that tape, what happens when he runs out of the building? He runs right in front of a car, and those agents that have to follow him in that traffic. What if the car had hit him? What if they hit an agent? That's what happens when you allow someone you facilitate their escape and move it into a public area. That's exactly what the agents wanted to avoid, because in a hallway in a courtroom, people you know are not armed. It's a closed space. You can prepare for it. Now, in terms of her punishment, quite frankly, I think this judge is hoping for jury nullification. I think she's hoping this is a very liberal district. She'll get a very favorable jury. She just got a remarkably favorable judge. She was assigned randomly a judge who was rebuked because he had written and said things publicly that were raw and political against Trump and against the conservatives on the Supreme Court.
Okay, if you are afraid of political theater, I will say this. As somebody who's covering this court case, I have no afraid of calling out either the prosecution or the defense team if this is political theater. But the judge who is overseeing this case, he is taking his time. And the reason why I think he's really taking his time is because all of this will change the course of American history. If he drops the case, like we said before, every judge can claim what Judge Hannah Dugan is claiming. Immunity and everything Judge Hannah Dugan did in the footage, that is within official acts of a federal judge. On the flip side, when he presses forward with the case, if any other judge does what Judge Hannah Dugan did, there will now be a cross-reference for judges to prosecute other judges if they are facilitating and getting in the way of ICE agents in a public hallway. Which is why I think we're not really seeing any political theater, because that judge will definitely get called out for it, and anybody else will if they're trying to influence either being a Republican or Democrat in this court case. Okay, so as I
put the judge. She's guilty. She's guilty. No, nobody's above the law. Okay? She committed a crime. It's that simple. You know. I tell you. And let me see what I'm just reading what these patrons are saying in the comment section. If she's not held accountable, why should any of us be held accountable for anything? You know. But like I tell y'all, the system in this country, man. You know. But it says all of Judge Dugan's cases need to be investigated. I agree. This so-called judge needs to be prosecuted, her law license revoked, and should do time. No one is above the law. She's guilty, and even the blind can see that. This judge has to be disbarred and jailed. You know, I've never been walked out of the courtroom by no judge. That is not normal. She is wrong. Lock her up. This judge needs to be disbarred and jailed. There people are saying the same thing. This is treason. She should be prosecuted as such. I'm sick of government officials getting by with crimes. She didn't do the job she was supposed to do that day. I'm so tired of government officials hiding behind their immunity. Rules for thee, not for me. This is all disturbing. If were any other citizens aiding a criminal to escape, he/she would be jailed immediately. So it's disgusting that the judge is still walking free. This judge needs to be jailed. The double standard here is astonishing. I tell you, man. She needs to be held accountable immediately. Yes, prosecute, please. You know, you just can't make this up, family. You just can't. You know, but that's the huge update on this Wisconsin judge. You know, y'all know how I say, you got to put your hands behind your back, especially this big heifer here. We caught you live on camera. You know, we caught your butt, you know. A disgrace, man. You just can't make this stuff up. But let me know what y'all think. I know y'all gonna keep it real in the comment section as we always do every single show. You know. It's just a disgrace that we have to make shows like this, that these things actually have taken place. That's what really gets me, you know. That stuff like this really has taken place. And then the other judge got the illegals and they giving them ammunition and got them in the house, making them breakfast and lunch and dinner and rubbing their feet, giving them back massages. You know, they living in the attic, the basement, the guest room. I tell you, man, you just can't make this up, man. But I love y'all. Y'all have an amazing rest of your weekend, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, family.